I have the great pleasure to introduce to you two of the greatest people you will ever have the chance to meet. Tracy and Kimberly were both NCAA Division I athletes. Tracy was drafted by the NFL. As you can imagine, Tracy has been mentored by the finest coaches in the world, both in the athletic world and the business world. Today, he and Kimberly travel around talking to tens of thousands of people a year, and they're here to tell you how they did it, and even better, how you can do it too. So why don't you help me welcome from Preston, Washington, Founders Diamonds, Tracy and Kimberly Eaton.
Thank you. We know that ovation is about you moving on, isn't it? This is about you tonight. And just getting that attitude, getting that fighter mentality. We're going to be moving forward, and then out of this room, there's going to be many decisions made and commitments made, and winners and champions are going to be born tonight. Yeah? I tell you, right now, people are just doing the old rules of engagement. Work hard, go to school, get a good education, go get a good job. And how that is doing is it's failing miserable out there. And not to say that jobs are bad. We need them to pay our bills. But the same token is it depends on where you want to go. And I've never met a person in my life that doesn't want some peace of mind, that doesn't want some feeling that they've accomplished, right? Something that they've done. Say they've done something great. They made an impact with their life. What they did counted. I don't know a soul in the world that doesn't want that. We've talked to you earlier today about people that should be growing in whether it's their faith, that's important to you, your family, your finances, and the 3 F's, those important areas of our life. And when you're not growing in those areas, you look for other places to grow in. And so we're seeing people on Facebook, and you're seeing, networking and things like video games, getting at different levels, World of Warcraft. I'm on level 60 of World of Warcraft. And, and trying to get to the next level. I remember when we were busted. My gosh, I remember being in the NFL, having $300,000 in the bank. And then 3 years after that, having $90,000 in Visa debt. I promise you, when we had $300,000 in the bank, she wore Victoria's Secret. $90,000 in Visa debt, she wore a Snuggie. You ever seen those things? They have arms on them. So your arms don't get cold when you change the channel. But people continue to do these things. Tell me, people in America have become entitlement generation people, haven't they? They believe that they deserve it. And you know what? You need to fight for success and prosperity. No more entitlements. No more 99 weeks of unemployment. No more of that. If you're out there and you're a go-getter, the old is no longer. The new has come in. We're not looking for IQ. We're looking for EQ. We're looking for roll your sleeves up, old-fashioned work ethic, moving forward, make an impact, serve people before you get paid, and you'll find out that you shouldn't be doing that to get paid anyway, but that's why we continue to do what we do, and we want to go out there and find those people that still have a heartbeat, still understand that this is not a cycle, this is an opportunity, the greatest opportunity you'll ever see. Well, I can't wait to introduce you to this girl right here, my girlfriend. Tell you, we got along awesome at first, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And then we got married.
That's not true.
No, we had a good time. We had a really good time at first. But there were times. I mean, don't get me wrong. And we love each other very much. But I'll tell you, the first year of marriage, I remember opening the door for her in the car. And I remember we were downtown Seattle, and I walked by this monstrosity. It was the biggest dog dump I've ever seen in my life. I was like, is this part horse, part dog? I had to walk around this bad. I couldn't even walk over it. I had to walk around the thing. And then I went to open the door, and she got in, and then I went to get in, and I started driving about 5 minutes down the road. I was like, I said, do you smell that? And she's like, yeah, I do. And then we both checked her feet. She stepped in the biggest dump, brought it in my new BMW. It was first year of marriage. Oh, my God. It stunk so bad. And it took me a month to get some of that smell out. And right when I got the smell out, she got pregnant. And she had some morning sickness. And she was driving the BMW. And she didn't have time to put down the window. She had the seatbelt on, and she was like, bleh. This first year of marriage. Thank God she cleaned it up before I got in the car. But the problem was when I got back in the car, obviously when she got out to go clean it up, the seatbelt wasn't still down, obviously. It had gone back up into the seatbelt. So when I brought the bad boy down, I was like, oh my God. What is that smell? First year. Again, this BMW had a curse in it, did it not? It was a stick shift, and it was in gear in my driveway that was like downhill, and it was in gear, and she was in the passenger seat. I had just had surgery on my foot, and I'm walking in front of it, and her being the lovely wife she is, she thought she'd turn it on to just warm it up for me. I'm right in front of this thing. She turns a BMW in gear, and the sucker's powerful, man. It started bunny hopping, and I'm jumping out of the way. I was like, is she trying to run me over? And it bunny hopped through our garage, tore the garage door. The whole middle of our garage came down. It finally stopped, bunny hopping in the garage. And I'm in awe, and she gets out of the car and runs upstairs and hides. First year. This is true. Not a week later, she's working in the yard. She's got kind of a, what is it called, a green thumb? And she's working around the house. She loves plants and all that kind of stuff. And she comes back up and she goes, my diamond's gone. She was digging in the dirt and she lost her. Year one. I promise you, this is true. I called up my father and go, is this going to be my life now? But we can laugh about it now, can't we? Yeah. During the time, you know what? We love each other. We have been through tough, good times, bad times. You know what? We decided just to commit. We committed, and it was the best thing we ever could do for our family, for us, for our Maker, is commit. Even though things didn't look right, even though things weren't going right, you know what? You stuck through it. We stuck through it. And you made me the happiest man around.
Thank you.
I love this girl.
Love you too.
Here's Kimberly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm supposed to tell my story. I don't think we need to tell any more. I think you guys really know that you can do this thing, can't you? I forgot about all that stuff. Oh my gosh, that is so funny, and it's so true. That's all true. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Worldwide Dream Builders. We're so proud to represent Worldwide Dream Builders. And of course, the Amway Corporation is amazing. So thank you to the Amway Corporation. And thanks to my husband. What a visionary. Not that Tracy and I are any better than you, because we're not. We started our humble beginnings, as you heard, and there's many more stories. But freedom is amazing. When you hear the word freedom, I know for me, it just resonated in my soul. I'm like, freedom, what does that mean? It means so many things to so many different people, but for me, it was peace of mind. It's how good. We're sowing into people. That was so important to me. And I know everybody has that in them. It just sometimes takes someone like me to say that, and you think about that, going, you know what, I want that too. I just didn't think that was possible. And it is possible. So here's a little bit of my background. Okay, so first of all, my husband and I have been married almost 20 years. 20 years. Unbelievable. Isn't that great? Oh my gosh. So proud of that. I'm so proud of that. And I attribute to our success to just being around people that have great integrity. And when we were having struggles, I was like, you can get through this. This too shall pass. I held on to that saying, count it all joy, and this too shall pass, for years. And it held me on, and it held Tracy on. And so going back to me, it's not that interesting, really, but I'll just talk a little bit about it. So I grew up in West Virginia in a trailer park. Hello, trailer park people. So, my parents were young college students, and And my father was in law school at the time when they had me, and so my mom dropped out of college, and we grew up in a trailer for about 5 or 6 years in West Virginia until my father finished out college and law school, and then we moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where I grew up, in Pittsburgh. Love that town to this day. Love the Steelers. I can't get it out of my system. I know, whatever. You guys don't even know. You don't know. So, I had a great childhood. We all have our ups and downs in life, and certainly I have parents that are married to this day. My whole family still lives back in Pittsburgh, and just grew up well. Just oldest of 5 kids, and so I'm the responsible one, right? The oldest, and at a very young age, about 8 years old, I started track and field. My dad just took me to a track program. I was good at it, and I just stuck with it, and I like to win. I just love that feeling of competition, teamwork, and winning, and I stuck with it, and all the way through high school was the state champion in the mile and 2 mile and cross country, and just had so many doors open for me. I knew I loved Pittsburgh, but it was just that kind of girl. It was kind of the butterfly that just knew that if there was a way for me to break out, it was going to be through my athletics and through my schooling. I was a 4.2 student. Don't ask me how I got that. It's nauseating, I know. But it's just my personality. I was always an exceller and just wanted to be the best at everything. And I'm so grateful because I had so many opportunities. I remember just hundreds of letters from every college I could go to. It just was such an overwhelming but awesome experience going, I can go anywhere I want to go. And I chose Arizona State University because my father, he means a lot to me, and his opinion meant a lot, and met the coaches and liked the program. And so off to ASU I went, ASU Sun Devil. And oh my gosh, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Arizona State was an eye-opener. Oh my gosh, I was like, you are kidding me. We wear flannel shirts and Levi's and, all that kind of stuff. And here I am in Arizona. But I got off the plane, and it's like warm and palm trees. And I loved going to school there. I just excelled, and I enjoyed being on the team. I got to travel. I made first team every single year, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I didn't have the typical college experience. I studied. I had a curfew. I was in an all-girls dorm. But, looking back, I'm just grateful for that. I'm super grateful. And I just don't think I would change a thing. I would not change a thing. So I graduated there 4 years with a teaching degree, elementary education. And right from there, I got a second grade teaching position. So right from school, I got a second grade position. I went to graduate school. At night, I wanted to be a counselor. And then I was a waitress as well, a cocktail waitress. So that was my life. Loved being a teacher. And then one night I met Tracy Eaton where I was working at my establishment. He was just different. I kind of judged him. I'm like, football player, I don't know. And I don't know. It's just not me, and I kind of judged it. But after a while, just kind of getting to know them, I'm like, he's a great guy. And what I loved about him mostly, he just has a humble spirit about him. He just didn't make a big deal about the whole NFL thing. Just a decent guy he's an Oregon boy. And I just, at any rate, he's just a good, awesome, solid guy. And so we dated for a few months. And I was just so incredibly in awe of what he did. I mean, he was just this high-caliber athlete. He played for the Arizona Cardinals. We just had an awesome time, and I just was in awe. Like, to make it to that caliber, I was just blown away, and he sacrificed so much, and we just lived this charmed dating life. We dated for a few months, and then he went off and was a free agent, played for the Atlanta Falcons, and so I stayed in Arizona, and he lived up in Seattle, bought a home, and wanted me to move up there and leave my teaching position. And we never talked about marriage, so, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little old-fashioned, but I'm like, he wants me to move up there and, like, leave this great life of teaching and a waitress and a scooter. My. And so I thought I'd kind of move things along, okay, because I'm not very patient. And like I said, maybe a little old-fashioned, so I asked him to marry me. And, true story. And my kids think, they're like, you're kidding. I'm like, I know. I'm still waiting for him to get down on one knee and but that might happen. But it didn't happen that way. In fact, we have so many people we're mentoring now that are younger, and they're like, okay, so I want to get engaged, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to write our card. I'm going to put it on the billboard. I'm going to write something in the sand and be over a cliff. And I'm just like getting nauseated as they're speaking. I'm like, they're like, well, how did you do it? I'm like, really? You don't even want to know. So here's my story. So I asked him to marry me. He lost all color. He almost fainted. I really believe that. I've never seen color leave somebody. It was real. I mean, he turned white. And I was like, oh my, I guess I just made an error in judgment here. So, but funny thing is, the very next day, after the color came back and he thought about it, I had to plant a seed somehow. I mean, gosh, really? So the very next day, he's like, okay, let's do this thing. I mean, really, let's do this thing. How romantic is that? And he said, well, I don't have a ring. And he's like, here's a check. So he wrote me a blank check for the ring. And so I flew back from Atlanta to Seattle. And funny thing, my very good friend from college called and said, I just got engaged. I have this ring. I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a blank check and I could buy that ring from you. And I didn't even know what it looked like. I didn't know who that girl was. I have no idea. So I wrote a check for a ring I'd never seen in my life, sent it in the mail. He sent me the ring, and that's how I got my engagement ring. And we are engaged. And I did lose that diamond. I did. So, there's the curse right there. So isn't that crazy? That's just, I know. But it all worked out 20 years later. I guess it's not all about the ring, and it's really not. It was just, I was totally in love, and we just wanted to have a great life together. And that's how we started our life. We had a beautiful home in Kirkland, Washington, on the water. Just my dream. And it's true. I was 24 years old, living in this gorgeous house. I had a BMW, the cursed BMW. And just that thing, I swear to God, I should have just drove it off a cliff. But I was like, from scooter girl to BMW, I have arrived. And so we lived, like I said, we lived this charmed life. We had a brand new baby a few months later, and 9+ months later, and just so you know, that was how we started our life. Tracy was playing in the NFL. We lived in Atlanta during the season. We lived in Seattle in the off season. We had our baby, and it was just, wow, amazing. Just this charmed life. He played 6 years in the NFL. And I was with him for 4 of those years, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. And it was time for him to retire. It was just that time where he had so many injuries. He was just knocking people out still, which, God bless him, I loved it, by the way. I know, I'm like, go get him, honey. Make their parents hurt. Isn't that terrible? I don't know. Oh my gosh. So, and then you have your own children like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry I said that. So, at any rate, it was just amazing. And he retired. It was just time. He was still knocking people out, but with his head, and that's not good. So he thought it was just time. He retired on his own, and we retired for a whole entire year, and we traveled, and we had our new son, and it was just a great life. Just a great life. We had $300,000 in the bank. $100,000 we put on our house. We paid cash for our cars, cash for everything. We loved spoiling our friends. We went to dinner, we traveled, and we brought like this little entourage with us because we loved having friends wherever we went. And they were just starting off their life. We paid for everything, and it was all good because that was something that was really important for Tracy and I. And so, great, charmed life. Well, as time goes on, you start getting used to a certain lifestyle. Well, we have $300,000 in the bank, but there's no income coming in, and we're spending approximately $10,000 to $12,000 a month at that time. I know, it's quite a lot. And so when the money starts going backwards, you're looking at your account going, boy, this is not going to last very long. So about a year later, Tracy started his job as a stockbroker. And right about that time is when we were introduced to this business. And honestly, at first, we're like, okay, this sounds like a neat thing, and people look pretty nice. You guys are energetic and smiling and obviously want to go somewhere with your life, but we weren't quite there mentally, and I think part of it is because we were comfortable. We weren't kind of backed into the corner. And so we just kind of stuck around. because you people are so nice and you're so great. And we just stuck around. We went to the function and we're like, oh, you done? I'm done. Let's go to lunch. And we leave the function and our upline, we're like, where are you? We're like, oh, we're out. We're done. We got what we needed. And that was just kind of where we were at. I mean, in our journey here. And it took us a couple years for two reasons. Number one, you can't keep a winner from winning. When you're around winners, you just want to win. And after a while, we got a little antsy because we saw all these people winning. And we're like, okay, we can do this. These are people who are no better than we are. And then, of course, Tracy starting as a stockbroker, I mean, what he was making in a month is what he used to make in a day. And it was a totally big eye-opener for us. And our account was going backwards and backwards and backwards. And so it was time for us to start this business. In fact, we really, really did not make the change until our back was against the wall. And I don't know about you, but I think most people are fighters. And when your back is truly against the wall, like Tracy and I, we just came out swinging. I mean, we were just done. We were, like he said, honestly, 3 years after the NFL, we were 90 grand in Visa debt. 90, from 300 to 90 grand. I don't even know how it happened. I mean, it wasn't like I had diamond tiaras hanging around the house. I don't even know what happened. It just left. Irresponsible, no mentorship at all, just none. And, but at the time, I was in disbelief and I would cry. I couldn't believe that I couldn't even pay the electric bill, and I was making bills pass in the mail and all that. It was just crazy. It was crazy, but I'm so grateful for that now because number one, I can relate to people that, women are stressed out and tired. I'm like, gosh, I've been there. I know. We can do this. You can get through this. I'm so grateful for it. And it made me responsible. The value of money, the value of being responsible with all those things was a great learning lesson for us. And so I'm so grateful now. And to this day, I will never forget that feeling. I will never forget the feeling. I remember Julie Duncan saying this. You don't forget the feeling of when you're at a restaurant, you're at a hotel, and you give them your card. You're like, oh, that feeling like, God, please don't let it decline. Our cards would decline all the time. I would just be mortified. And, I mean, to this day, it's just that feeling. I can't even explain it. And so that's where we were at in this business. And so we had our backs against the wall. And we had to make a decision. Tracy was offered a position at a different stockbroking firm, which, by the way, he never told me about until years later, because at the time, I guarantee you, if he told me about that job, I would have said, take it, just take it, take it, take it. And it totally would have distracted us from this business, so he never even told me about it. And so what we decided to do is we decided to totally downsize our entire life. And we gave it up. We're like, okay, God, we're done. We're just going to give this up. And I remember going to a Brad Duncan board plan. Tracy had the flu. I went to his night out. I don't know what he said, but obviously it moved me. I came home. I was like, that's it. I'm game over. I'm done. I woke up my husband and said, well, honey, I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. I don't care. Do whatever you want us to do. I want to build this business. I'm willing to do whatever. And the very next day, he put our house on the market. It sold in a week. Gave away all of our furniture. Gave it away. I mean, I didn't even sell it. I said, just take it. I traded things out for babysitter. I gave a coffee table. It was like a $3,000 coffee table. And I traded out here. If you watch my kids for the weekend, you can have that table. I mean, I was like the barter queen. I just gave everything away, and we sold our cars. Our family members were freaking out. Our friends were like, it's that business. If it wasn't for that business, then you guys wouldn't be destitute, and everything was about the business. I'm like, actually, we made the bad, poor choices. The stock market was crashing at the time. It was not about the business. That was the answer. Our parents thought we were going to get a divorce, and people snickered, and they went, I told you so, and I know. And my pride was hurt. I have to admit, I worried more about what other people thought. And Tracy, it was a hard time. But you know what? We just clung together as a family. At that time, we had 3 little kids, and we just made it happen. We moved. We left that beautiful home. We left the cars. We left the furniture. Just took what we had, and I think we had 1 U-Haul. And we moved to this little apartment in Bothell, Washington. The great thing about that is, number one, we got out of debt, so there was no stress of that anymore. It was small, and it was close quarters, but oh my gosh, there was so much peace of mind. I did not even care. My kids were excited because it had a pool. And they were bragging to all their friends, we have a pool. I'm like, oh, God, I love my kids. They're so awesome. They always are positive and they look forward. And away we went. Kimberly and Tracy Eaton just holding hands together. We're going to do this thing. We're going to build our business, and we're going to make this thing happen. That's exactly what we did. In that house, we went emerald. And we stayed in that house. And then we moved to a rental home, and then we moved to another rental home. Every single year we moved. And different school districts, different places. We got criticized for that. I can't believe you're doing that to your children, and there's no consistency. I'm like, well, Mommy and Daddy are home. It doesn't matter where we are. We're all together as a family, so that's all the consistency we need. And plus, they have friends everywhere. So it's great. There's always a positive, always a positive. And we just took our little family along wherever God led us. And in one of those homes is where Tracy Eaton retired. It was an amazing day. So we're in a beautiful rental house, in Emerald, strong Emerald business. Living a pretty decent life, comfortable. Comfortable. Do you like that word, comfortable? After a while, comfortable is average to me. And that's kind of how we started feeling. And we're like, we're comfortable. We're average. How do we get here? And I don't know, Tracy and I just had that feeling that we just needed to move on. And so we had a family meeting, at the Eaton family meeting, which we have at least 2 times a year. Big Eaton family meeting. We bring the kids in. And we're like, okay, we have a great life, and we are excited about where we're at, but, we have to go diamond. And they're like, we got to go diamond. We can beat all your football games and beat all your schooling events and be here for you, or we can go diamond. And it's like the words couldn't even come out of our mouths fast enough. They're like, are you kidding me? Go diamond. We're fine. We have to finish this. I mean, our kids are so amazing. Don't worry about our games. Don't worry about school. Don't worry about this. We'll take care of it. And we were so excited. We had a new vision, a new dream, a new family vision. Oh, my gosh, a family vision. I mean, how rare is that, to have a family vision? And all of our kids, and we made this big sign, the Eatons, who are we? And I'm a sign person. I'm a school teacher. You have to do charts and stars and signs. I can't get it out of me. It's crazy. Stickers. I love stickers. And so that's why I'm so excited about this brand new 3-year-old we're adopting. I'm like, oh, good. I get to do stickers and charts again. It's so fun. And so we made this big chart about who the Eatons are, and we play injured. No one in our presence will ever feel alone. We encourage everybody to go. There's laughter. And we're full of forgiveness. We're full of grace. We're unified. We're loyal. And we just had this motto in our home, and it was awesome. It was like, that renewed spirit. You just get that just renewed spirit, and that's how we felt. And it's just amazing. 2-3 days later, my son gets a football exam. You know how your kids, when they get physical exams for football and all their sports, and so he gets a football exam, and 2 days later, I get a call from the doctor, and they're like, your son's results came back a little funny, and we're kind of concerned about him. I'm like, okay, well, so what do? Do I bring him in? They're like, well, you need to bring him into the hospital, like, right now. I'm like, right, like now? They're like, yeah, like Seattle's Children's Hospital, like right now. And I'm like, that lump in your throat, you're like, this is bad. This is not good. So I called Tracy. I'm like, we got to go to the hospital, like right now. And so we bring our little guy, Tori. At the time, he was 10 years old. Bring him down to the hospital, gets all these tests done. And the very next day, we get the results back. We're back in the hospital again. And the doctor, this specialist, he's a nephrologist, we're sitting there, and Tori's with us at the time, and you're just waiting. The torture, right, of waiting for your child's results all this that happened so quickly. My mom flew out like that day, and so the doctor says, we were kind of hoping it would be this. However, unfortunately, it's this. And I think I almost fainted because I did not hear anything after the word unfortunately. It's just like my hearing went out. I kept looking at my husband, like looking at him, and he's serious, just nodding. And I just knew it wasn't good. And I started to cry and hiding behind my hair, because you don't ever want to cry in front of your kids, right? So I'm really good at doing this. I'm really good at that. And, of course, the nurse then hands me a tissue, and then Tori sees her handing me a tissue. Then he starts to cry because he knows I'm crying. Oh, it was just devastating. I can actually talk about it now without crying, which is amazing because he is healing so well. I can't wait to tell you. I have hardly any time to tell you all the story, but he is doing amazing. He's doing amazing, of course, because God is amazing. We have been able to take him to China. Within 1 year, they can't even believe his test results. I mean, he used to get tested every single month. Last time we were there, they're like, we'll see you in a year. And I'm like, a year? Like, oh my God, okay, here we are. Okay, we'll see you in a year. It's awesome. So great. So thank you. So it was the most difficult time, as any parent would know, when your child goes through anything. It's the most difficult thing. I mean, I wanted to stop everything. I'm like, tear down the sign, the Eaton sign, tear down. I don't want to go diamond. I don't care about diamond. Let's just hunker down and let's focus on Tori. And Tracy's like, okay, let me take you aside, Kimberly, and kind of talk this through with you. And he did. He talked it through with me. He said, honey, okay, I know this is really hard. We got to finish this. We got to finish this. He's going to be great. He's going to be fine. And boy, that little boy went through so much. Oh, just looking back at what he went through with his insomnia, he was on 60 milligrams of prednisone at this little age, and which is for him was a very yucky drug for him. It caused massive insomnia, massive anxiety, suicidal thoughts. As a 10-year-old, and he was such a mess. And we still went diamond, you guys, and I am going to cry. That's not true. And, you know, if there's anything I can tell you through everything that we've been through, health challenges with our kids, health challenges personally, fights, talking about even divorce, which I can't even believe. And the one thing I can honestly say is we never stopped. I don't even know why. Was it the dream that was so big, or are we just, those kind of people that just don't want to quit, or I don't know what it is exactly, but the things that would stop people for a week, stop people for a month, we never stopped. We still showed the plan. We still went out there and put a smile on our face. Nobody knew what was going on with our finances, with our son. I mean, we just kind of kept things. We just wanted to make sure everybody felt good and safe. And Kimberly and Tracy are good. And you're going to be good. And we're going to do this together. And we're fighters. And I don't know what that is, but it's a decision. It's not innate. It's a decision. And you can do that. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything. All that we went through. Going diamond is amazing. It, for me personally, was the best day of my life. Better than that amazing engagement proposal. It's hard to top that one. And raising your kids' hands on stage, and you know how kids are. They're like, I don't remember that, but they remember that day. I remember that day. Our extended family that didn't believe in us, they suddenly were like, wow, you did it. I mean, they came into the Coliseum with 10,000 people screaming and yelling. My father was like, you got to be kidding me. I thought it was going to be like, you get a plaque and let's have a chicken dinner. I mean, that's what they thought it was. And I'm like, it was just amazing. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for my husband. My husband's, he's an amazing man. We have grown so much together in this business. And it's a lifelong journey, isn't it? It's just a journey that I can't even imagine doing without him. When we finally realized that we need to stop looking for each other to fill each other's needs and really look at ourselves and grow ourselves and become the people that we desire to be, everything just kind of worked out for the best. Whenever we put God first in our life, which, whatever your faith is, welcome. This is just our personal testimony. When we put God first in our life, everything fell into place. It wasn't about me changing him changing me. It was just about changing ourselves, changing the world. So grateful for that. I mean, I try to simplify it because it is simple. When you really say, okay, this is really about me changing me, And then I could change the world. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, and who said that? Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. Isn't that, it's true. That's true. That's not just some cute saying. Our children will never be the same. We are adopting a little girl right now. We're in the process of adopting a little girl. Amazing. We never dreamed of adopting. We never thought about adopting. In fact, Christmas time last year, we're in Mexico with our 3 children who are teenagers. And we're laying on a beach, and I look at my husband, I'm like, this is good. Like, they're all good. They're grown. They're wonderful people. I'm so proud of them. And I don't have to count children. Remember, do you do that? I used to go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I couldn't even close my eyes, or let alone read a magazine, because if they're swimming in the ocean, or, you know how moms are, right? And we were just laying back. I'm like, I'm reading a magazine. I'm closing my eyes. This is amazing. Oh, my gosh. And we have time, and we have choices. 2 months later, our little Tori, our amazing Tori, who's now 15, comes to me and says, Mom, there's this little girl at my school. Our kids go to a school where it integrates younger kids and older kids. The younger kids are mentored by the older kids. And he's like, there's this little girl named Mariah. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, okay, first of all, sit down and look at me in the eye and don't move. Because I'm always moving. My kids are always like, would you sit down? I'm like, I can't. And, they practically tie me down just to watch a movie. And he goes, so you have to sit down and look me in the eye. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at him in the eye, and he's like, okay. So there's this little girl named Mariah. She's 2 years old, and I have to have her. Okay. Tell me about her. And he started telling me about this little girl, Mariah. She was a foster child in the foster system, and was with a foster family that was able to get her a scholarship at this private school that my kids are in, and he fell in love with her. And then my daughter, who also goes to the school, goes, yeah, I have to have her too. And you have to meet her. So about a month later, I meet her. And there she is, little Miss Mariah, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I mean, she's just the most beautiful girl. She has this hair. Oh my gosh, it's like cotton candy. I love it. I'm like, oh, just come here. So her hair, I just put my face in her head all the time. It's just, she's priceless. And so I meet her, and I'm like, oh. And I come home, and I see the foster mom. I'm like, so tell me the story about Mariah. And she tells me the story. I'm like, well, if anyone's not adopting her, because I don't know how we got on this guys, I don't even know how this happened. I mean, I lost my brain for a moment. I said, we'll take her. I'm like, and I walk away going, oh my God, I just committed to having a child without even asking my husband. Okay. Hi, honey, guess what I did today? You're not going to believe it. No, I didn't overspend at Nordstrom. I committed to having a child. So I come home, and I talked to Tracy. I'm like, okay, there's this girl. And I said, would you ever consider adopting? I said it that way. And he said, of course. I'm like, what? What do you mean, of course? Tracy Eaton doesn't say of course to anything. He's logical. He thinks things through. He, when he buys a calculator, he looks on Consumer Reports. I am not kidding. And I'm like, buy the calculator now. Buy the best one. Just buy the best one. The most expensive one, let's get it, and it'll be good. You don't have to study. Oh, my Lord. So when he said sure, I was like, oh, my gosh, this has to be God. Because he didn't weigh out the options or anything like that. He just said, yeah, why not? We can bless her. Yeah, we can totally bless this little girl's life. Isn't that what we're here commissioned for? I'm like, thank you. Okay, I can't wait. So we're in that process now, and she's been living in our home for a few months now and thriving, loving, giggling, laughing. Guys, I'll finish off with this. 8 years ago, we were $90,000 in visa debt. There's no way we would have adopted a girl. And if she would have came in our life 8 years ago, I would have had to say no. And that breaks my heart. And it's not that I'm not a good person. It's just I couldn't. I just couldn't. And I'm so grateful that we were available, that we built this business. I want that for you. I love you. Here's Tracy.
That was amazing, Kimberly. It was amazing. Well, if there was a Consumer Reports on adoption, I would have got it, but there is not one. Oh, boy. Well, she did a great job, and all heart, and, like I said, 99% attitude, 1% detail. That's what you got to catch. More than anything is the attitude coming out of here, is making that commitment. Let me tell you why Kimberly and I made it. Because we didn't quit. We're not quitters. We don't have that gene in our body. It's gone. We left that a long time ago. We move forward. We get things done. When we commit, our words are bond. And we have integrity and character like that. And when the emotion wears off, we still commit. Because that's what we do. And we're going to stay consistent doing that. Even though when it's not financially positive in our life, we're still going to commit to doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be integrity and character that sets you apart, that allows you to hang on to what you've built. It's going to be your integrity and your character. And that doesn't come from lying and cheating people, which this is what an amazing business. Well, my story, I'll start it back in New York. That's where I was born in Oregon, but lived in New York for 7 years. My father played for the New York Giants. And so I had obviously a seed planted in my life. My dad's a little bit different to me. In his heyday, he was strong safety in the NFL. He was 6'3", between 210 and 220 pounds, and he was fast. He was a basketball player at Oregon State and got drafted into the NFL. He's quite an athlete. He's really unbelievable. Everybody I talked to, all of his friends, all of his coaches, all those people were like, he is the most amazing athlete that we've ever seen in our entire life. Thank God I didn't know all this growing up, because I would have had too much to live up to, obviously. It would have been just too much, probably overbearing. But I did have a seed planted in my life when he did play. And one of those seeds is just respect. I saw people coming over to our house and asking my dad for an autograph. And as a kid, you're so proud. Aren't you? He's like, God, they want my dad's autograph. And that planted a seed, is that respect thing, almost to a fault that I have in my life, of just longing for champions and for mentors and for you and for Crossline and for successful people, just to have respect, and which means going out there and getting some things done at the end of the day, right? Not a whole lot of talking, but more working. Yeah? And I find a lot of people do a lot of yapping with nothing going on, and it's time to back it up. And that's why I love this business. It gives everybody a shot. Everybody has a fair shot. We're all in the same thing. We all have to go through different courses along the way, right? We have different struggles that we're going to have. Your struggle is not going to be my struggle, but I think it's important for you to know what the struggles we went through. It's important for you to know that, knowing that we got through it. Well, let's move along. Lived in New York for 7 years. Had some great friends over there. Moved out when I was like 12 or 13. We moved out to the West Coast. My father got a job in Seattle. We lived there for 2 weeks. And then my parents got divorced. And my mom went back to Medford, Oregon, where I was raised, where her family was, where she was raised, because that was normal to her. And I was raised by my mom. And it was my sister and I and my mom. And nothing against my dad, but he stayed in Seattle. We were in Medford. And I look at that today going, gosh, I could not be that far away from my children. Knowing what we've been through in our life today. And nothing against him. My dad, I love my dad and I respect him. And thank God for him. He's painted a lot of, he's helped mentor me in a lot of different areas. And he's helped me through a lot of situations. And he's been an important part of my life. But, on the same token, I've got to give kudos to my mother, too, of being a single mom and raising 2 kids in a tough atmosphere and seeing how tough that is out there today to those of you that are single moms out there, and understand that what you have to go through, and understand that it does not go unseen. And sometimes you feel like you're getting treaded on all the time, but you'll be appreciated. There will be a gratefulness as long as you keep on making those good decisions and keep on being tough and working through those things. It was a tough thing for a 13-year-old to go through divorce. Anyway, through it, it's always toughest on the kids, to be honest with you. I think it's more tougher on kids than it is parents. Although we live with that our whole life as we go through and make those decisions, kids have a rough time, and sometimes you have that little edge to you along the way. I, happen to use that positively. And, I can look back and say, because I was in the situation that I was in, it backed me into a corner and it made me a better fighter. And not that I want to see people get divorced for that to happen, but I can also pick out the positive and live in a world going, okay, you know what? This too shall pass. Count it all joy. These things happen for a reason, and it's to make me better, not to make me worse. As long as I make good decisions, I'm going to be able to back myself in the corner and get through this. And so I found my mentorship in sports. My head coach was the same head coach that coached my father. That's how long he was at the Medford High School. His name's Fred Spiegelberg, who was a big-time mentor of mine, who I was, he's passed away since, but what a fighter. He was a boxer. He was a tough sucker, man. And, he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I was a junior in high school, and I was way too small to be playing football. I had no business playing football. I was scared to go up and be a senior in the high school. And, I wasn't going to go out for football at all. And he saw me when I was registering for school or something like that. And he says, I didn't see your name as being on the football team. There must be a mistake. And I was just too chicken to tell him it wasn't a mistake. And he put his arm around me and kind of grabbed me by the back of my sweatshirt. And Spiegelberg was dragging me down to go sign up. And I signed up because he saw something in me. Maybe it was my dad's gene pool he saw. Maybe it was that, I didn't have a dad. A lot of teachers out there are like that. They notice those things, don't you? And I take my hat off to you. And I always kind of give garbage to the teachers of the world that, you just don't get paid and blah, blah, blah. But, those of you that are out there to do good work and to mentoring, man, thank you. Really appreciate that. It is well needed. So I got mentorship and coaches that believe me. I had baseball coaches, basketball coaches, football coaches, but I was hungry for that father mentorship, right? That father power, so to speak, that so many young boys don't get, so many young girls don't get, and it is needed. It really is. You need to find the right environments for people to get in those areas. My favorite sport was actually basketball growing up. I actually got a football scholarship, and I got offered a basketball scholarship too at a smaller school. And I was just mainly, I wasn't an amazing player, but I was a workaholic. I was the defense guy. And so this coach out of Clam Falls wanted me to come in, named Danny Miles, to come play for him at OIT, Oregon Institute of Technology. And I decided to go to Portland State because it was a little bit bigger. It was a little bit more bigger of a program, and they offered me a scholarship, and so I was willing to take it. And long story short, I went into college, again, really small. I at 17 years old going in there. I really looked like I was like 13 or 14, to be honest with you. Didn't have muscle and didn't grow up in the weight room, but I kept on making it barely to that next level. And college sports was really good for me because I really got that eye of the tiger along the way, that killer instinct, so to speak, okay? Because I never had that in high school. I went to college, and we were in game films, and I was watching this player. His name was Bo Eaton. He's one of the best guys at free safety I've ever seen, to be honest with you. He was playing, I can't remember the team he played for, but some California school, Division II, Division I AA, something like that. And that guy put his body on the line. I was watching film of him. He was putting his body on his line, and our whole team was just commenting on what an amazing free safety that is, and how he plays the game, and how he puts his body on the line, how he's willing to just stick his head into anything, like sticking into a barrel of a gun and playing full blast and 100% and never say die. And you know what? And I looked around to see what was respected, and all these guys were saying, watching this guy, and I was like, you know what? I need to change my game. And I changed it in one day. It didn't take me 21 days to create a habit. It took me one flick of a switch to go, if that's what you guys want to see, that's what you guys got. And that afternoon in practice, people just would catch the ball going across the middle, knowing that I would just powder puff them and try to take a flag off or something, and playing flag football, for crying out loud, because I was just touching people. And I would decleat them. And they were like, good Lord, this is just practice. I'm like, just wait. You better come bringing it next time because I'm going to do it again next time. Because not only am I going to prepare you for the game, but I got to get myself warmed up because you're wearing the jersey right now, the team I'm playing against this week, and I don't like them. And the game's changed for me. And that's when I was a sophomore in college. And then an invisible mentor, invisible meaning he's not here teaching me. I saw it on film. You can hear it on CD, whatever. You decide if you're hungry enough to go take it in. Besides finding things that are wrong with people, find something that's right with it, how you can change and take it into your arsenal. And now that's what I did. And it's interesting how he was a senior when I watched him play the game right. And I saw the picture of what I wanted to be. And I was a sophomore in college. He got drafted by the Houston Oilers. I don't know where around, but he got drafted. And 2 years later, when I was a senior, he got hurt playing for the Houston Oilers. And then I got drafted by the Houston Oilers 7th round. If that tells you anything, that all I had to do was copy his work habit, copy the way he did things. And then I was by the same exact team he was drafted by, obviously catching the coach's eye. And I got drafted by the Houston Oilers 7th round, and Jerry Glanville, a guy that is an NFL coach for a long time. He coached me in Houston for 2 years, and he took me under his wing. He was another one of those father-type figures. And he was one of those guys that believed in me more than I believed in myself and knew that I was an underdog, but he also knew that underdogs that were backed into a corner were vicious fighters. And he just called me up when he drafted me. He said, boy, you going to hit like I saw you on film? I said, yes, sir. I said, I'm going to do. He says, you come prove yourself here and you're going to have a spot on the Houston Oilers. I ended up playing 2 years for the Houston Oilers and becoming a free agent. Then I went to Arizona, played there a year under Joe Bugle. And then I was a free agent again after a year, and I went back with Jerry Glanville, who was in Atlanta and coached the Falcons for 3 years. So I played 6 years. I was the guy that would go down on the kickoff, and I was called the wedge buster. And you know what? Not only the wedge buster, but I was the guy that would jump over the wedges and do flips to screw up the guy behind the wedge. And a lot of you guys don't understand what that means, but put it this way. I would jump on a time bomb. I had guys that were 250 pounds running down in a wedge looking to hit me, and I would jump clean over them while there was a running back behind him, and I'd mess up the way he'd run, and I would do flips, and the coach started calling it high yuccas as we would do that. And all of a sudden, you saw the Houston Oilers in this place that we played called the House of Pain, and you saw all these people running down on kickoff, and everybody diving with their bodies in the air like they're jumping on hand grenades to save other people's lives. And it was we called it hit the beach. And we were going, and we freaked out other teams going, what is wrong with these people? They're off. We don't want to even deal with these crazy people. And we just kept on doing that. Gosh, you know, and in my career, I played with guys like Brett Favre. Everybody's heard of Brett Favre, right? I was thinking to myself, somebody goes, did you play with Brett Favre? And I said, who hasn't? I think Y.A. Tittle played with Brett Favre. Deion Sanders, what an amazing athlete. Warren Moon, Hall of Famer. Andre Bad Moon Rising. Alonzo Highsmith, I remember going against him, Alonzo Highsmith. He was from the University of Miami. And I come there from Portland State going, hi, I'm here and ready to play. And Alonzo Highsmith is about 235 pounds. He's a running back from the University of Miami. And here I am, just a little boy here from a podunk town. And the first drill they do during training camp puts me against him in a one-on-one where he's got to cross the goal line behind me. And I'm like, and he ran me over. But like most people that would just walk back in line with their head down, I walked back and got up and go, I'm not hitting it like that. Alonzo, get back there. You're not going to do that again. Try. And he came back, and I just went a little lower and flipped him a little bit because he was mad that I called him out. And so I just hit him right around the shoelaces and, and just fell down really quick, stopped him, and the coaches were looking at me like, guy's got some guts. Who is this guy? And my name was on a sticker, and it said Eaton on there. And I put it on the back of my helmet, too. to make sure that when they saw me run, that they made sure that they knew who my name was, because even though I wasn't going to win the race, I was going to go further than anybody went. That's all. Because I knew they were going to beat me anyway. I knew I wasn't as strong, fast, or as big. So I had to do something else to go make the team. I had to do something else that just didn't require talent. It required hard work and fourth quarter type mentality where they're like, we want that guy on our special teams. I was going to make the team somehow, some way. I was going to make them not cut me. You know what I mean? It's not that I was going to make the team. They couldn't cut me because I worked way too hard. And I got 6 years at NFL with that kind of mentality. And so, great life. We had a great time. How did I make it? I didn't quit, right? I learned the system. I showed up every day. I wasn't going to look back on that time going, I wish I would have tried harder. I gave it my all in practice. Why? Because I had to. I was not a star. And I gave it my all every single day. I did the best I could every day. I was coachable. I was able to be coached. Coach told me to do something. If I did something wrong, snap, it's done. I'm not going to make that problem. I'm not going to do that thing again. I played injured. I had shoulders coming out of joint. My last year, I bet you shoulders coming out of joint. I bet you close to 50 times if you count both of them. Shoulders slipping out of joint, popping back in. And I knew it was going to hurt for like 3-4 minutes. Adrenaline would take over. Then it would hurt all week. Then it was time to go back in the game again. That's why I hit with my head all the time. Because if I hit with my shoulders, they would come out of joint. And I was willing to go do that because why? Because it was my dream to be in the NFL, and I was going to finish. And I had respect from my teammates because I was willing to play injured, and they knew I was going to be there. And I needed that respect. I didn't need them to say, gosh, you know what? Some other guy should be playing in your position, Tracy, because there's so many better players. I want them to say, you know what? I respect that kid. I worked hard for that. I kept going even when I felt like quitting. You know where I'm getting. I kept going even when I felt like quitting. When the emotion said stop, I kept moving and going because I didn't know anything else, because I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back home with my tail between my legs going, got cut. I didn't want to go back home like that going, you're right, I shouldn't have tried. Waste of time, surgeries. But you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. You can take these lessons. I mean, after I got out of the NFL, Kimberly told you a lot of the story. After about a year, I became a stockbroker. And I'm not going to talk too much about a stockbroker. All I know this is the word broker's on it. Can't believe that people do that their whole lives, man. That's what my dad did again. My dad was a football player, stockbroker. Guess what I did? You think it's, even though my parents were divorced and I didn't live with him, isn't it important to plant those seeds and what seeds you're planting every single day? Make sure you're a good example. I'm not just saying, well, you should do this. I didn't do it. You should do this. That's not good enough. You ought to go live it. And it's time to go out there and step up to the plate, even though you're uncomfortable, and finish what you start. And that's what we did. We got into this business, and we didn't start off. It took me a year to really build the business. My first board plan, I served booze in it. Don't do that. A year later, I'm in the business. I finally started opening we had tapes back then. I finally started listening to CDs after 1 year. Start to learn the business. Start to go, going to the functions, getting around it, kind of getting excited about it because the stockbroking thing wasn't going well. And I got on the board. My mentor said, go get on the board and go show the plan. And so I did. I went down to Medford, Oregon. I drove down there 7 hours to go show the plan. I drove 7 hours and I did a 6-minute plan. Wasn't pretty. They all got involved. Because they said, if that sucker can do it, I'm going to blow this thing up. You need to go know that you can do this. A 6-minute plan? Are you kidding me? Some of the most important times in my life were counseling, change, switch, quit being so nice, quit being stepped on, start to stand for something, know who you are, what you're and where you're going. Don't let people waste your time. Don't let them waste your time. Your time is all you got that's more important on this earth. Do not let them do that. Start to be bold and confident and moving forward. And I'm telling you, you look at the reasons why Kimberly and I are diamonds in this business. You know why? Because I showed up every day. I came every day. I maximized my days. I didn't let anything fall through the cracks. I would make sure that I did the best I could every day. I gave it my best. Not my personal best, the best I could that day. That's how we became successful in this business. I was coachable. I didn't get sad about it. I said, okay. And we moved in the right direction. I became coachable in this business. I played injured. We were sick. I was sick. I had 103-degree fever for 3 weeks, for crying out loud. For 3 months, I was sick. I thought I was going to die, but I kept on showing the plan. So I kept on going. And my in-laws were in town going, I can't believe it. He's dropping the ball on his family. He's going with that goofy little soap business, and we're here. He should be spending more time with us. And you know what? Your husband's not taking care of your family. You guys are going backwards financially. Their family's in disarray. That's what they would tell my in-laws. That's what they told my wife. Not they're bad people. They're good people. They were looking out for her. I had this. My father, who's very supportive, don't get me wrong, he goes, why don't you just drop that? It doesn't seem like you're making that much money in it. It hasn't worked out the way you need to work out. You've been at it for what, 7, 8 years now? No, it's more like 4 or 5. Well, you're not seeing the fruit from it. Drop it. Start to concentrating on stockbroking. This is what they said. My son was sick. You'd heard Kimberly talk about it. Kimberly was sick. She doesn't talk about it. She had this thyroid thing. She kept on moving. She kept on going. She's a fighter. We were fighting. We've talked about, we've come up with the conclusion of being divorced. Going, we're going to get divorced. But you know what? We found out that when we commit, we don't go backwards on it. We found out that we're those type of people. And we couldn't do it. I said, okay, we'll draw up the papers. I'll sign them. She's like, no, you draw up the papers. No, you draw the papers. You quit. No, you quit. And we couldn't quit. We're too stubborn to get a divorce. I did things that created scarcity that you were just unable to do, or you were able, but you weren't willing to do. I would go the extra mile. I would go to Night Owls to go see a Brad Duncan. I would go see him in Portland, Oregon, and drive back home and go to work in the same clothes that I left in, just to go get some nuggets to let him know that I'm in the fight, just to make sure. And that you get information like that, and you start going, what do I do with that? You go the extra mile. You go the extra yard. You figure out that it's the roots in this business. It's the badge of honor that you're in the fight. Be willing to go out there and create the badges that other people are going to be willing to see and look at and respect. They're badges of honor. We streamlined our life, and we got focused on the overarching purpose. We just got it out. Streamlining. We were broke. We had to go through this pain. I went through ATMs trying to get money out between a seminar just like this, and zero came out of there. I wanted to get teriyaki. I wanted $10 out of there, and no money came out. We were busted. Tell me you're broke. Find a way. My wife cried every month during bills because we didn't have the money to pay them. I'm not a crier. I'm not that emotional guy. But when I started going to work and I was in traffic one more time, and I was in there with everybody else looking around, and I got tears coming to my eyes going, I can't believe I'm settling. Can't believe my life is like this. I was a professional athlete, and now we're busted and broke. And I said, no more am I going to be average at a bunch of things. I'm going to be great, and I'm going to sell out mentally on a daily basis to make sure that gets done beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm going to rip that Band-Aid off and get it done. Is it worth it? You got to know that it's worth it. My gosh, my father now wants me to mentor his son, who's 14 years old. Now the whole tide has turned, right? We went to Hawaii. We brought Kimberly's parents with us, the in-laws that were negative about us building the business. We brought them. The father-in-law is like, this is wonderful. It's awesome. What's the word he used? It's fantastic. He said it 1,000 times. He sat down with Kimberly and had a little talk. He's this Irishman, kind of a little bit overweight, so he doesn't no sun on that body. And he's a lawyer, so he hardly ever goes on vacation. And so he's got this sombrero on so he doesn't get sunburned. And he's sitting there in the sun talking to Kimberly saying, oh, my daughter, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. So proud of the friends that you have. You have amazing friends. Your kids are amazing. How you've raised them. I'm so proud of you. Proud of what you've accomplished in business. And Kimberly has tears in her eyes. And then he had his mindset to come tell me the same thing. He came to me. And he told me he was proud of me and the friends we had and kind of the same talk. And I had tears in my eyes too because I was crying because it cost me to get him in there to say that he was proud of me and to bribe his butt to make sure that he knew that we were doing the right thing. Either you're right or everybody else is wrong. The 99% that's not going to make it, they're going to try to drag you down. Either they're right or you're right. Which one's it going to be? My son and I, my oldest son, Trace, we just got back from the Final Four this last spring. It was amazing. It was like a rite of passage for him. He became a man. And the fishing trips that we do together, we were having a ball. My son, Tori, who used to have that little thing going on, and now it's gone. We're speaking that out. It's gone out of his body. And he goes to China with us to go see doctors. And the doctors, for the first time, I said, what was your favorite part about China? He said, when the doctors said I was going to be okay. I've never heard that before. Just hearing that he's going to be okay. My little daughter, Sean, we go fishing together. She loves fishing more than my boys. She's better at fishing than me. She catches more fish than me every time. It actually makes me mad. But I take her on daddy-daughter dates, too. I raise the bar on that sucker that's going to date her when she's 40. Because I open the door for her and I have great conversation for her and I buy her gifts every time we do it. So the first guy that comes along, she's going to just kick to the curb. Are you kidding me? No gifts? No jewelry? Out. Do whatever way you want to do it. That's the way I'm doing it. Now, little girl Mariah that we now have in our life. Really amazing. Our kids love her like our own child. Like their sister, like our daughter. My little daughter wrote a little note for her, just for her to remember. She can't read yet. July 16, 2010, my baby. My new little sister. When I first met Mariah, we were going to the same school. You were 2 years old, and it was about March. Tori loved you the day he met you. For a few weeks, Tori was begging me to meet you. Finally, I came to meet you, and of course I loved you whenever I came downstairs to see everyone. And actually telling my mom and dad that we had to have you. And so we came to meet you, and they thought the same way. So we came to the conclusion that we would adopt you. I am so fortunate to have a little sister like you. By the time you read this, you will probably be 7 or 8. When you are the age, I will be 15 years old. So if you have any questions about anything, ask me. Love your big sister, Sean. Just taking her right in. Taking her right in. Know what I love too? I love spoiling my wife. I love the fact that she can go out there and do the Dumb and Dumber things with her toes and get it all grinded out or whatever you call them, pedicures and do manicures and face stuff and buy stuff and for your body and face. And her goal is Raquel Welch at 70 years old. I'm like, hallelujah. I like that. I was always like, Sean Connery looks pretty cool with wrinkles and all that stuff. And now I'm starting to look in my face going, I need some of our product right now because that wasn't there yesterday. Guys, here's the most important thing. The example you set coming out of this room. We need to go out there and we need to make the changes necessary for us to grow. And where everybody's growth is going to be different, but we need to personally grow going out of here. Build our confidence, build our self-image, build ourselves. And this is a new era, and this is a window. But you got to go through the fight and get those badges of honor on you so when people look at you, there's respect there, and they'll listen when there's respect, integrity, and character. Yes? Let's go get this thing done, guys. Thank you.
The success depicted may reflect income from sources other than Amway, such as earnings from the sale of business support materials or other businesses and investments. While the techniques and approaches